Hello everybody, thanks for watching first. And this is going to be just a short unplanned talk on narcissism. You know, there's so many videos out there, channels about how to avoid narcissistic people and what to watch out for and some of the traits and habits of narcissists. And I've been noticing that, of course, I've watched these things too because I want to watch out for those kind of folks. But you know, maybe it's true that we all have narcissistic qualities and other people see them in us and we tend to not see them in ourselves, which is another form of narcissism. So let's just go through a few things about being a human being, being a Homo sapien to begin with. Number one, most of us human beings, Homo sapiens, think that we're the most important species on the planet. We certainly act that way. That's a form of narcissism, right? Like a species-wide narcissism. Uh, the animals are here for our use would be one way of putting it. Looking at plants and trees and everything else we can consume as resources, as our environment, the thing that surrounds us, is another form of narcissism. Seeing yourself as the hero of your own story, or the villain, even hero or villain, but the main character, when really you're probably not the main character in anybody's story except your own. So that's also a form of narcissism. So we've got a lot of stuff just that we've inherited as people and that we think through, and even, you know, our sense organs, when we look around at the world, you move your head left and right and the world kind of appears, you appear to be in the middle of the world, in the center of the world. The compass points, north, south, east, and west, when you look around the world, they originate from you, right, from the middle of you. So all of these, are just naturally and of course rationally place us in the center of things. We feel that we're the center of the universe. We don't say that out loud, but we do feel that way, and that's another form of narcissism. So we all have these traits, and I think that when you're looking at someone or dating someone and things go wrong, it's really easy to label them with narcissism, with the trait narcissism. Or narcissism can be something that happens. It can also be a personality type, like a pathology. And I think labeling somebody else narcissistic because things don't go well for us in the relationship we're in with them does not necessarily mean that they are pathologically narcissistic. I mean, we probably didn't think that at first with them, right? We enjoyed a lot of their behaviors, and their self-centeredness is something that we all share, but when things go wrong, we tend to want to fixate on those things and blame them for those behaviors of self-centeredness that, of course, can be narcissistic as well. So just to say that I think that it's a little bit unfair to do that, because probably the first place to start is, in what way am I narcissistic in my relationships to other people? Let's take another example, the term or the phrase future faking. Often you'll hear like a narcissistic commentator say, well, one of the indicators of someone who is a narcissist is that they'll fake the future. They'll imagine and talk about all the wonderful things that will happen with you and them in the future, and then that doesn't happen, and then the person who's been hurt or has felt to be misled looks back and goes, oh, well, all that was planned by the narcissist. It was all the faking of the future was something they intended, and they never actually intended to go through with it. But let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's look at the counterfactual. What if you were in a relationship with somebody and you thought to yourself, I'm not going to be narcissistic. I'm not going to future fake. I'm going to be as clear as I possibly can about the potential for our relationship in the future. So your loved one are talking about maybe a trip that you want to take, or a vacation in a few months, or maybe in the spring, and then you say, well, that's a great idea, but let's not cross that bridge quite yet, right? Let's not put the cart before the horse, honey. We may not even be together then. You see how that's also not really a great thing to say in a relationship? So in relationships, we are hoping for a future with a person, and that future doesn't always happen. That doesn't necessarily mean it was intended as a trap, and it doesn't mean that you should be so brutal about the real potential of relationships on a day-to-day basis with your partner that they would probably want to leave because they don't feel secure. So it's just to say that narcissism it's a trait we probably all have to some degree, and of course there's more and less of it. We hope to have a little less of it. Probably the way to avoid hurting people with our own narcissism is just to do this, right? Just to admit that it's there, and we try to do our best. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is a little anti-narcissism for the day. Take care.